All right. Let's get this going. That's not working. All right. All right. Just getting set up here, guys. Give me 2 seconds. We shall get going. All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome. Bear with me as I get things going. All right, here we go. And invites out. Bear with me as I get set up, everybody. Getting ready, getting people here. And we will get going. It's been so long since I've been doing my lives. So again, bear with me as I get used to doing things again. Mm-hmm. There we go. All right. Hello, everybody. I am the Progressive Moose. Good to see ya. I have been gone for way too long. And this will be my first live back in over a year at this point. So I'm looking forward to jumping back into it and getting things going again. As always, like before, don't forget to like the live, guys. Share, let people know that we're gathering. Not too many at the moment, which is fine. Let people gather. VA, hello, and thank you. Appreciate that. Really appreciate it. So just as we build things up, guys, I've been gone for just over a year. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. Glad to be back. It's been just over a year. I was dealing with a lot of health issues, so getting that taken care of. And of course, it was dental, so definitely wasn't in the shape to do my lives and keep doing it on a regular basis. But it's all done with. I'm healed up. I'm good to go. So that's the main thing that I'm looking at. So happy to be back at it. What are we going to cover? I wanted to do a broad spectrum, so talk about on provincial levels across Canada, talk about federal level, the different parties, what's all going on, and of course, we'll get into global politics, United States, Iran, what's going on with the state of Hormuz, of course, as well as Russia, Ukraine, all that stuff going on. Yeah, quite a bit to talk about, especially as of late. It did kind of work out, I guess, because there's so much to talk about coming out of this weekend alone. So, see if I can get a couple more invites sent out. Hey, good to see you. All right. Hope everyone's weekend has been good. Hope the weather hasn't been too crappy. Had some rain here for Saturday, so yesterday. Now we had clear day today, bit cooler, but definitely a better day today. I got out with the dog, got her some exercise, and enjoyed the sun while we had it. It's supposed to warm back up too, so looking forward to that. Oh yeah, the roads were horrible. Absolutely. I'm hoping this is the last push that we had for winter, and we are finally done with winter weather. Fingers crossed, guys. No promises, of course. All right. So, couple of housekeeping notes. I'm gonna go through everything because I do record and I do make sure to post on YouTube as well. So, first thing, if you're not following me over on YouTube, I've got a YouTube set up, and all my lives that I do will be posted over there on YouTube, so you can go and watch them later if you miss a show or just want to watch again for kicks. Um, Other than that, that's the main point. I do have my Discord up and going a bit more again. I've been slowly working on that, so head on over and check it out if you're on it already. I'll get my Discord link up on my profile in the next couple days for people that are not a part of it. Yeah. Other than that, some main stuff. I'll be doing my Sunday show again, just like tonight. As well, I will be doing a Wednesday slot. I used to do with Beaver Politics, but I'll be doing it on my own channel. So I'll have the 2 shows a week, midweek, so kind of a bit of a catch up. And of course, today, Sunday, to talk about what's happened over the weekend. Yeah. So, provincially, what are we seeing across Canada? You've got Alberta, of course, with UCP and Daniel Smith, moving more and more to be like the United States, banning books, that sort of stuff, trying to rip back rights in different ways, healthcare, of course. The whole enchilada, just like normal Alberta over there, right? Ontario, Ontario, I wanted to talk about. Pardon me. So, Doug Ford announced on Friday the purchase of a commuter jet. That's quickly been reversed, coming out today stating that even though it's already procured, which means they already have it, they are going to try to find somebody to sell it as quickly as possible. So no plane for Ford. They got enough backlash in the last, 48 hours for them to really do a reversal on it. Now, for those that do pay more attention to politics, especially in Ontario, Doug Ford has a whole grocery list of things that he's done throughout time, whether it's throwing money towards his corporate buddies in one way, shape, or form. Remember when Service Ontario got merged into Staples in a lot of big cities down south and whatnot? There was, shoveling money towards Staples for that, as well as different contracts that were approved for his buddies. The Greenbelt scandal, which, to remind everybody, he apologized for, but then admitted that they were continuing to do what they planned on in the Greenbelt. So admitted that he did wrong and apologized, but continued to go forward. And to this day, is still planning on destroying a lot of the Greenbelt in Ontario. So keep that stuff in mind. Quite the rap sheet. But it is pretty blatant, more so for Ford to do this. Everything's always been pretty blatant as far as I, look at things, but this was over the top for him. So be definitely interested to see what happens next in Ontario with that. Nikki, I saw you're kicking around. I don't know if you still are. Guys, Nikki was on the ground this weekend. So maybe at some point, Nikki, if you are around, if you want to come up and talk about that, that'd be cool. I'd love to chat a bit about that in a little bit here. Federally, though, I want to jump into federal politics and where everything kind of stands there, because I think we still, for the majority, I think we still have a lot of people watching the mainstream news and mainstream coverage, and they're not getting the fuller picture. I know people are going to end up here on my live on a regular basis. You keep up, you know what's going on, you know the nuances. But I'm going to go through it as per party right now, and I'm going to do NDP, Conservative, and Liberal parties, and just kind of break down where they are right now, so people have a better idea as to what's actually going on and taking place right now. So NDP, let's start with them. As of right now, they are the least consequential, in my opinion, and that's why I'm going to start with them. However, we have 3 years until the next election, and the NDP is at a point where they're rebuilding the party from the base up. Avi Lewis got the leadership of the party, and if you've been paying attention to his message, where he has decided to say or decided that the party's going to go under his leadership, I love it, and I hope to hear a hell of a lot more from him and the NDP party as a whole. And I hope they take the opportunity while they're building the party to start putting the message out there and drive that fucking message. You know, some things that he's talked about, and I won't get into everything, but some of the big things to me, he's talked about the federal government taking back ownership of getting housing built. So instead of the current system where the government shovels out money to companies and corporations to build homes, he's talking about actually doing purpose-built whole house building, just like Canada did after World War II, where it was directly from the government, built by the government, sold by the government. And it would be a great way to bring in more revenue for the government. Get rid of that middleman and bring down housing prices. Get rid of the bigger profit motive, right? Because we all know the bigger companies that are building these homes, that is the biggest driving factor right now, is the profit margin. Anywho, so that is fantastic. Throwing that back towards government would be great. He's also come out and he's talked about how Canadians look at Canada Post. And I bring this one up because I think it's really intriguing that a lot of times you do not hear people talk about it. Yes, I realize Canada Post is privatized, but at the same time, it's still considered a crown corporation. Now, that being said, what crown corporation or what aspect of a government-run business, so to speak, and I realize there's nuance with the post office because it is private. However, when we look at hospitals, when we look at, police forces, when we look at fire departments, they're all things run and funded by the government. How come nobody complains that they don't make profit? Right? It's a service given to the people, just like the rest of the things I mentioned. So why is it they're expected to make profit while all these other services are not? Double standard. Anywho, so he talks about that. I think it's fantastic. Love to see it. And I really, yes, the NDP is in a really hard position right now. Their numbers are really low coming out of the last election. But hopefully with him and the strategy moving forward, they will be able to rebuild the NDP party, and we'll see them come back. It's not going to be 1-2 elections where they're going to have a huge surge, but it'll be progress if he can move it forward. So really looking forward to that. Yeah, conservatives. Let's talk about where the conservatives are right now, and I think there's a lot of different aspects we could talk about. I don't want to go on forever, so I'm going to try and put the best points I think that need to be covered. The conservatives are really in a bad position right now in terms of politically. They've had so many floor crossers. What's it been? 4 conservative floor crossers. 1 was NDP. So the 5 altogether, right? So 4 conservative crosses that have happened. Now, 3 of them, you can absolutely say, what's the red Tory, I think, if I have my wording correctly. Because let's be real, the progressive conservatives and the Liberal Party are the same thing. And depending what you're talking about, using nuance, the Liberals are actually more conservative than a progressive conservative would be. Okay, and I'm going to break into that in a little bit. Break into that a bit more, and we'll talk about that a bit more, of course. But yeah, but you have the one that's gone over from the Conservative Party that is really like fringe right, like on the outskirts, on the right, that has gone over to the Liberal Party. That one, like, I get politically why the Liberals were happy to welcome them aboard. I can see how it helps them politically. How it's going to go and how they can morally, as a party, justify it is going to be hard for them to do moving forward, only because of the hard red line stance that this MP from the Conservatives has had when it comes to abortion, trucker convoy, a lot of things that normally end up in a ball together with those things, that really like hard right. So it'll be interesting to see. That being said, with the floor crossers and the by-election sweep that the Liberals ended up getting in the by-election, they now do have a majority government. And this is where it's really going to be telling how this government is going to do things. If they have a plan for things, which, we can talk about military spending, we can talk about trade, we can talk about domestic issues, especially when it comes to Indigenous rights, and the duty to consult in a lot of different places across Canada right now, with the different things that Carney has announced or said or pledged to do. And a lot of those things are coupled with conservative provincial governments that have most certainly faced pushback from not only the Indigenous populations in different areas, like here in Ontario, the Ring of Fire. Nikki, I know there's a battle going on right now in Nova Scotia. And, Nikki had talked about this a little already too, in terms of it's the same playbook across the provinces when it comes to the Conservatives. You look at Alberta, you look at Ontario, you look at Nova Scotia, and it's all the same playbook, and they're buddy with each other. They support each other. They come out with comments about what the others are doing, giving them support, all that sort of stuff, right? And that being said, Mark Carney has pledged to support the things that are going on in these provinces as a way of, as they would say, kind of bridging the gap and coming together in unity, and which, fine, not wrong. However, that's a lot of the nuance we're going to get into while I'm here doing this stuff today, or talking about this stuff today, because I think it very much is important to do so. Nikki, I hit it. I got it. Hey, Nikki,
Hey.
how's it going? Oh, fine and dandy. What's up? You want to talk about what's going on in Nova Scotia?
Provincial level, what happens on a federal level, and then also how both provincial and federal kind of get intertwined within certain projects. That's kind of where I'm at, because a lot of what I deal with would be fisheries. So that is both provincial and federal because of Department of Fisheries and Oceans. So what I've been working on are two big projects. So one is the Avon River Causeway in Windsor, Nova Scotia, where they are twinning the highway and will be putting in a new structure. Now, I understand we are past the point of a free-flowing river. I have accepted that. The issue that I'm having now is they will be putting in dikes. They will be realigning the river. They will be putting in another controlled structure. Now, it says that there will be fishways and fish ladders. It's already been proven by experts and scientists that fishways will not work in this system. We are in the Bay of Fundy. The Bay of Fundy has the world's highest, strongest tides. We don't have enough water coming down to support these fish ladders 24/7, nor will it work with all species of fish because of the varying sizes. The other issue I have is the control. So the province of Nova Scotia will be the one controlling this structure, in which they have already been controlling a similar structure for over 50 years, which has caused the death of fish and fish habitat, which is illegal underneath the Fisheries Act, which has had 0 convictions on, which is an unauthorized structure. Now, what I'm currently fighting for, which is what I was doing yesterday by my demonstration, is a partnership. We talk about Adoaptamunk, which is two-eyed seeing, which could be the province and the Mi'kmaq co-managing the structure. That way we know the environment's best interests are being put first, rather than profits, developments, and economic growth being put over the environment and the species. The other big project I've been working on, which is strictly at the federal level, would be the biodiversity facilities. Now, these two things go hand in hand with each other, because the biodiversity facilities basically grow salmon. They grow Inner Bay of Fundy Atlantic salmon and release them within different life stages. So they start with unfed fry, they release smolts, they release adults. They also bring in more wild within different life stages. They keep a portion at the facility, right? And it's an ongoing cycle. Now, this program is not to increase the population, but it is to keep the population going, which has been successful in that aspect. So they are closing the biodiversity facility in both Mactaquac, New Brunswick, and Colebrook, Nova Scotia. Now, while they are closing these facilities and ending the live gene bank program, they are putting in more structures that are stopping these species from entering their spawning grounds, which is then ending their life cycles, which is why these two projects go hand in hand. Which, if it's something that you haven't been following as long as I have, it does get very complicated and really hard to understand the provincial versus federal aspects of that.
Yeah, and that's what I was getting at in terms of like it gets so intricate between the province and the federal government sometimes, especially in what's going on today, uh, that they can't do it without one another because it's kind of to the point of it's so intertwined, working together, right? Um, yeah, but and we're seeing too. So here's where I'm going to step in and start talking about the Liberals and Carney and what we're seeing overall, because I think there's a lot of nuance that needs to be used when talking about the current government, because there's a range of issues that they're doing different levels of doing, right? When it comes to what Mark Carney's been doing on the world stage, when it comes to trade, meetings with different leaders to figure out kind of where the world's shifting politically, not just with trade, but how alliances are being forged and or strengthened right now. Credit where credit's due to Carney in terms of diplomatically how he's been able to do and how he's been able to start trade processes or expand trade, especially with the EU, which is one of the biggest negotiations and differences in trade that we've seen. Again, credit where credit's due. However, when we're looking at Mark Carney and the Liberals right now here at home in Canada, it's not so good of a picture for the Liberals. And I think I'm waiting for enough people to try to start seeing what's going on here at home with what a lot of the stuff the Liberals are doing. Yes, there's good things that are coming out, like Bill C9, I believe it is, the one that strengthens hate speech laws, I think is fantastic. But when it comes to monetary policy, they're really like it's dead on conservative policies. It's dead on conservative financial values. Okay.
So some of the budget cuts that they're making, like the reason why they're closing the biodiversity facilities is because of a budget cut to DFO. But the issue I have with it, like I understand that sometimes there has to be budget cuts, but when it's something that directly impacts Indigenous and they're doing it without consultation. That's why I'm really on the fence with Carney because he is doing a good job when it comes to trade and things like that. And that I can recognize. But then I see like those issues and I see like the deal, like the one project, one review with Tim Houston and so on.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what I'm getting at, right? Because as good as he can do for really the economy on the foreign level, global level, again, credit where credit's due there. But when it comes to dealing with inside the borders of Canada, he's really, and I don't think it's being covered enough. Um, because you're right about that stuff. There's going to be cuts to healthcare for asylum seekers, which I've heard some arguments kind of supporting it. However, to me, it's if you're getting rid of healthcare for one, what's going to stop them from getting rid of healthcare for others in one way, shape, or form? So that's where the coupling of bringing back, and I realize there's going to be cuts, but we need to figure out a balance. And we can't take away things that are fundamentally a Canadian right. I mean, to me, it's hands down like, don't touch healthcare. We're already seeing healthcare being dismantled by conservatives on the provincial level. We don't need federal funding cuts to also start plaguing, because that's the problem in the first place, is the provinces are not allocating the proper funds to properly fund healthcare. So Carney just cutting funding to healthcare, saying it's for that reason, again, it opens the floodgates to, well, maybe we can kind of adjust it even more, make up a little bit more. And just quickly, and then Nikki, I'll let you hop back in. I think you got something, but couple that with cutting gas tax right now. Okay, what he's done. Yes, it gives a little bit of relief. However, there's two factors we need to consider. Is one, do you think the companies are going to lower the price all the way that they should and give up all that profit? And two, you're making a cut to a tax, which again, it does help the pocketbooks at the pumps to some extent. However, you're now taking away that revenue. As you're making cuts, you're losing revenue as well. So are you really making up a difference and making a difference when you're doing both at the same time? Nikki,
The way I see it, human rights are human rights, and healthcare is a part of human rights, right?
Yeah.
And so, like, I have a question. Do you know why gas is expensive as it is right now?
Well, there's a lot of different factors. Globally, is because of a lot of the different wars going on. Russia, Ukraine, of course. Now we're seeing with the new one, U.S., Israel. That's causing issues. And as well, I mean, profits have been, I mean, those companies have been making record profits for God knows how long. And I mean, different ways Trump has been manipulating the markets, like with this Strait of Hormuz saying it's open when it's not, boosting the economy, helping his buddies make more money before it dips back down again. Sorry, was there anything else you wanted to add to that? I didn't mean to take over.
I was just thinking because, like, I don't mind. Like, I know it sucks, you know, especially like I'm not well off, right? Like, I also live paycheck to paycheck, but like, I don't mind paying more for gas, especially when a lot of it has to do with children being bombed. But also, like, let the companies take the hit for it instead of the people, right? Make the corporations start paying for it.
And this is absolutely, I've talked about it before. I know it's been a while since I've done live. However, and I'll continue to throw this out there every chance I get. If you were to close tax loopholes for those corporations, okay, get rid of the federal government subsidies these companies get. If you were to get rid of that, those companies actually paid the amount of taxes they were supposed to pay. You could cut taxes for the people and still have more revenue than you've had in decades to play with. You wouldn't have to make cuts like you're doing if corporations paid the proper amount of tax. And on provincial levels, I'll call out oil companies, because on the provincial level in Alberta, the government actually uses taxpayer dollars to clean up the oil sands mess and companies' messes instead of the companies fucking doing it themselves. So you mix that with everything from the federal government. At this point, why don't the feds just actually nationalize oil in Canada seeing as how the government literally pays for fucking everything for it anyway and cut the corporate crap. And then we'd have plenty of fucking revenue because that oil revenue would be going to the government to use for the people.
Almost
Sorry.
like taxing the rich would benefit the people.
Yes! That too.
And you
this
know
is the
what?
stuff, right?
Just to throw the little in there, tax the churches too.
Yes, tax the churches, okay? Tax the churches. And I have to throw this dig in there to anyone that's a Convoy supporter. You know, think of the children. Think of the children. Seriously, think of the fucking children, guys. Like, actually do it for once, okay? Yeah,
Okay, I had to laugh when I was out there yesterday because I was looking and listening and watching how many truckers drove by, honking, waving, smile on their face, and the odd one that didn't, that gave the finger or just didn't do anything. And all I could think was, I bet they were a convoyer.
Oh, I remember when I did the BLM. I organized it here in town, but I went out on my own one day because I was like, yeah, no, I need to do something. So I just made my sign and went out, and a couple people ended up joining me that day, and then we all organized together the actual like that weekend. It was the Monday I went out, and then like that weekend we did an actual full on march through town. But we actually there was 3 or 4 of us with our signs. We actually had somebody yell at us that we were Nazis and to get the hell out of Canada because, yeah, and it was just like, how the hell? I don't understand how we ended up being Nazis in his mind. But the backwards logic, that's the biggest thing I got.
I'm gonna have fun during my next one because my next one I'm gonna do a walk through town and I'm gonna give them lots of notice. So if they want to counter protest, they'll have an opportunity to counter protest. I'll even give them the idea to.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, so sorry, just gonna do quick round and get back into it. But so what we're seeing from the liberal federal government, um, and again, I'll throw in there too. Look in Alberta, where he essentially with Daniel Smith signed an agreement for another pipeline to go to the coast, which nobody talked to BC about. And the one that was built under Justin Trudeau still isn't at full capacity. So no actual private corporation or company will touch a new pipeline or get involved for that reason. Um, and this is where, the similarities, because, I mean, conservatives are always screaming for pipelines, regardless of what you do. And, Carney right there, and hey, yeah, let's do another pipeline. So, and we've already been told, too, I believe, from different nations as well, no, you have to go through our land to do so, and we say no. EB's been pretty clear on that. I'm pretty sure the premier of BC, he's been pretty adamant and standing with them in saying no for that very reason. So
they say they always put this protocol in place, right, where they have to put so much money aside before the project for cleanups and everything else, right? But at the end of the day, what usually ends up happening is a pipeline or some other project gets put on Indigenous land or in the waters, and then it always ends up being the Indigenous people's responsibilities to clean it up.
yeah, exactly. So a lot of stuff like that, guys, going on. The dog's barking. I apologize. But I mean, Carney. Again, I realize the vast majority of Canadians are thinking of trade and foreign relations with everything that's going on right now with the United States, tariffs, everything on the global level. However, again, we have to think of what's being done here in Canada and what are the values that are being put into place by the Liberal government, especially moving forward now that they have a majority in Parliament. Sorry, just trying to get the dog to stop barking. Leonard, nothing will happen. Nothing will happen. You can't say that something's going to happen, whether it's good or bad. Something's going to happen, and that's what we need to pay attention to moving forward. And hold them accountable. See if they're actually managed to get done what they wanted to get done and said they want to get done, and at what cost to us Canadians as the people, right?
The biggest thing is holding our government accountable at every single level, because I see so much blind loyalty, and so many people that I'm having these conversations with just are not willing to see the criticisms when it comes to Carney. And like, yes, he is doing good things, but there's also not so good things that he's doing, and we also can't overlook those for the good things that are being done. So we do still need to hold our government accountable, no matter who that government is. I'd be saying it if it was NDP, whether it was Conservative, or now with the Liberals.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I completely 100% agree. And this is where opposition parties really need to hop onto the idea of, if you want to get things done that's good for Canada, if you want to get things done that, whether they're good or bad, of course, we'll figure out once we get there. But if you want to get things done, you have to work with this government. Is that a part of what I think Carney is trying to do when it comes to opening the door to more far right leaning conservatives? Yes. I think they're trying to make it so it's more of an umbrella party. And I think he's going to run into problems trying to manage, the more progressive side of his caucus and the more right leaning aspect of his caucus right now. And he's really going to have to work hard to keep people on the same page. So it's really, politically, they've been doing great, and he's been doing great. Clearly, they now have a majority. But is he going to be able to hold cohesion of that party moving forward in a productive way for Canadians?
That's what I'm really interested to see, because like we see some of the people that crossed over to Liberal, like Chris D'Entremont. He was a big person within the Mi'kmaq lobster fishery, the fishing dispute. That newest one, who was completely for conversion therapy. Like, I'm really interested to see exactly how this is going to play out with them now being a part of the Liberal Party, and how exactly Carney's going to handle that going forward.
Yeah, it's really, at this point, it's a waiting game. I do think we need to pay a bit more attention on the provincial level, to go along with what we were talking about earlier, the different things in different provinces they're trying to get done with support from the federal government. Again, Ontario here, Ring of Fire, the fishery stuff over in Nova Scotia, of course, oil pipeline and such over in Alberta, and there's more, of course, but those are the main examples being thrown around in conversations right now.
Yeah, I was already concerned when I had seen that Tim Houston was meeting with Doug Ford months ago. And then now that I seen that he's meeting with Danielle Smith about like mining and like we're already having so many problems with Tim Houston. Like it can only go downhill from here. And that says a lot.
No, and it absolutely does, and that's where, if you're paying attention, you see what's going on. Like yourself, me, other people we know, of course. Um, we really got to get that message out there, because I think we're going to start to see more of the push now towards the natural resources, whatever they might be in our provinces, and our First Nations, our Indigenous populations have already said no, and have already said their opposition. And if they do start moving forward with these things, you can guarantee there's going to be pushback, there's going to be protest, there's probably going to end up being blockades, and we need to rally together and put our foot down as the people. Now,
Because like we're already seeing it here, right, in Nova Scotia. And it's only gonna get worse. Like it's if Tim Houston does not back down, Nova Scotia is gonna get shut down.
yeah, yeah, Quebec. I think they still have the blockade going on in Quebec over the timber rights and whatnot. That's been quite a while, since last summer. I think they've been doing blockades in Quebec for that. So again, it's coming. I want to couple that though, and Nikki, I don't know if you paid full attention to this, but I do want to kind of couple it together in a way. Have you seen what's going on down in the United States in terms of warehouses?
Ones that are being burnt down.
Yes. So
May or may not have heard a little bit about it.
so for anyone that's here that hasn't heard much, I'm sure we've all heard about the first one. Because of that video is still online, you can go find it. And yeah, so now there is confirmed 20 warehouses that have gone up in flames since that first initial one that's in the videos. They cannot confirm that all 20 are because of the same reason. However, they are saying very likely the vast majority of them, that is exactly what is happening. And all you had to do was pay a living wage. That's all you have to do, is pay a living wage. Now, I had been saying before, when I was doing my lives before I had to take off for as long as I did, that the people's movement, aka the revolution, the second revolution coming out of the Gilded Age, was coming, and you are going to see more extreme measures by the working class. And here we are. Okay, we've had Mario, which, okay, nuances there. Was he working class? No. Did he stand up for the working class? Hell yeah. But point being, here we are. We're seeing more pushback by the people in different ways. Whether we agree with their tactics or how they decide to do it, thanks for coming by, Nikki. Appreciate you chiming in. Always love our conversations. But yeah, guys, so you see the pushback from the people. Whether you agree with the tactic, whether you agree with what they're doing, is up for conversation, right? I'm not going to tell you to back people that are destroying property, or back people like Mario that did do something very violent, okay? But it's showing the pushback. Hi, Hayden. But it shows, what I'm getting at is it shows the pushback from the people. And we've been seeing it with unions across North America for, 4 or 5 years now? The unions are still battling. Okay, we have multiple unions across Canada on strike as we speak, and North America as a whole. So just keep an eye out. The people are tired of it. Yeah. So a little more globally, two guys I just want to quickly mention the Strait of Hormuz that I touched on briefly earlier. But so that is completely closed again. Iran has said that no, anybody tries to go through, they have fired on a vessel already trying to go through. Nobody's hurt. Everything's okay that way. And actually, within the last couple hours, there's been reports that United States has seized an Iranian ship. Not very many details, and that's only coming from Trump's social media. Nobody has confirmed it that I know of yet. Of course, I've been doing this, so since I started, it could have happened, maybe been confirmed by now. So that's an ongoing. Not very many ships made it through, so we are going to see fuel prices and oil prices go up yet again, because I don't think anything really changed from that period of time it was open. Yeah, it's not enough regardless. So keep an eye on that. No scheduled peace talks there. Ukraine. Quickly, guys, Ukraine has been doing a fantastic job pushing back against Russia. As I said before, I do post things for informational purposes on my Discord. So if you're on my Discord, I do have a channel in there for stuff that's going on in Ukraine. I have been posting a little bit. I gotta get better at posting that stuff so everybody can see it. Ukraine's doing fantastic. Pushing back, yes. Right now it's a war of nutrition, essentially. And Russia is hoping the numbers game will win it. However, guys, they're so past how much time they were hoping to do it in, right? Like, they were hoping it was going to be done in like a year and a half. I'm talking Russia, for clarification. And how many years are we at now? We're at like 4 or 5 years now on that one. Yeah. So, glory to Ukraine, guys. Keep up the good fight. Keep supporting them. Support democracy. Support fighting up against tyrants. That's the biggest thing that I can say. So keep your ears open there. There might be news coming on that front soon. There are whispers that Putin is really starting to collapse inwards in Russia. Changing laws and putting things in place to essentially start forcefully constricting people into the military to keep the numbers going towards the front line. There's talk of possibly bringing up a 2 million reservist force, calling them up to start fighting. Apologize. But yeah, experts are actually saying that might not actually end up happening if he does do it. The last time he called up reservists for this war, I can't remember the exact numbers, but it was something like 20% fled Russia out of the people that were supposed to go to the front from the reservists. So they expect that the numbers are going to be so much higher that they're calling up. Probably going to see the same amount, around 20%, decide to do the same thing and leave Russia instead of going to the front line as ordered. Yeah, Gaza still under attack by Israel, of course. That hasn't stopped. Everybody is convinced it's a ceasefire. There has not been a ceasefire whatsoever. Palestinians are still being slaughtered day in and day out. Nothing's changed there, unfortunately. Yeah, and that's the state of things right now. Don't think I have much more to add today, to be honest. I just want to do a quick rundown of everything we're looking at right now in today's society, globally, here at home in Canada. United States is the United States, it's the same nonsense. There are reports that Trump's support is imploding in on itself. And yeah, I mean, keep paying attention, guys. There's people trying to push back everywhere. So we just gotta hold on to hope, and it's bound to break. We are seeing light come through the darkness. So keep pushing at it and keep hoping. And things are changing. It's not going to change overnight, but we are starting to see the cracks happen. So I think that's going to be it for me tonight, guys. So everyone, thank you for coming and joining me tonight and listening, watching, being a part of the conversation in the comments. Really appreciate everyone. Again, you can come watch me on YouTube. If you happen to miss a show, I will make sure it's posted there within the next couple days after the show happens. So I look forward to seeing everybody on Wednesday for a midweek update on what's going on. And until then, stay safe, stay sane. I'll see you next time, everyone.